Welcome back to Trader Talk in what will be the last of our group stage T20 World Cup episodes. I'm joined once again by Will Gunn. What have you made so far of the tournament, Will?
Yeah, there's been some great matches in the tournament so far. Been a little disappointing in the last week or so that rain has kind of taken over a little bit and maybe spoiled what could have been some more great matches. But yeah, it's shaping up really nicely, and we should get some good semi-finals.
Yeah, I completely agree, and there's so much to look forward to. But first, there's one round of fixtures left, and I personally wasn't expecting it to be this tight, but there is almost still all to play for, and a lot of pressure on the England boys. Sri Lanka up as their final group game, and it's a must-win, right? What do you expect from England here?
Yeah, the way that the fixtures have fallen, it absolutely is a must-win. Australia will be desperate for England to slip up. I think one interesting thing that could happen in this final round of matches is if Australia go really hard and try and beat Afghanistan by, I think it's something like 80 or 90 runs minimum or something like that. That could put a bit of pressure on England to have to win by, I don't know, 15 or 20 or chase it in a certain amount of overs. And that's the potential banana skin for England is if they just know that they've got to win, I think that they'll beat Sri Lanka easily. But if Australia manage to put a little bit of pressure on them with some net run rate, then I think you could see an interesting game and potentially they could slip up.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, mate. And there is still quite a lot of potential for, as you say, banana skins or a few more twists and turns here. It's certainly not a gimme for England. But let's take a quick look then at their previous match against the Kiwis. I personally was very impressed by England. I thought they looked quite assured from the off. A few moments where it was in the balance, but I didn't really have any doubt in my mind that the result was going England's way. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is their performance with the bat. Set a pretty decent score. Hales and Butler kind of teed off almost from the off. And Hales was pretty impressive in the power play. And that continued throughout, really. Can we expect more of that from England, or do you think Sri Lanka can put them under a bit more pressure?
Yeah, I guess after last time I said I wasn't sure about Alex Hales and what he'd been doing. He actually batted really, really well, and he went really hard from the start. Whereas often in the past he's taken a few balls to get himself in, and that completely took the pressure off Butler, and meant he had a properly good chance to get himself in. And then that paid dividends later on in the innings when he went on to get his big score. So both of those two were fantastic. Livingston came in and I think he hit 1-6. It was a big bomb. And we didn't even really need some of the powerful hitting down the order because most of the work was done at the top.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there. I think Milan coming in at 8 or something ridiculous low down the order just proved how little England really needed the big hitters. And hopefully we can see a lot more of that against Sri Lanka because it's just great to see them hitting sixes all the time. But the bowling as well, the bowling was not bad at all. And looking forward to this Sri Lanka game, Mark Wood sits at the top of the wicket takers market for England, which I think is pretty difficult to disagree with. Firstly, the pace that he's throwing them in at the moment, but it was pretty on the money. However, I think Sam Curran's second in that. I'd probably argue there's a bit more value in him, particularly with his performance. He's in absolutely fine form, and yeah, he seems to be right on the money as well. What do you think then? Where would your money be going in that market?
Yeah, I think it's quite a difficult one between the two of them. Sam Curran's bowling at such great times at the minute, bowling in the last 3 or 4 overs, and with the new ball at the start, and that's why he's been picking up wickets. But Wood just seems to keep on picking up big wickets at big times, and I think the Sri Lankans probably will struggle with the extra pace of him. So I think this time I'd probably be leaning towards Mark Wood over Curran in the top bowler market.
Fair enough, and the market suggests that anyway. So I'm sure you're more on the money than I am. I guess looking ahead then, so hypothetically speaking, England beat Sri Lanka and Australia win their game. What needs to change with the net run rate? Can you explain that to some of our viewers, and even to me, because it baffles me at times.
Yeah, well, it's because of how the tournament's gone so far. There is actually quite a big difference in the net run rate, and with England playing after Australia, it's kind of if England were playing first and England won by say maybe 5 runs or knocked them off with 4 or 5 balls to spare or something like that, their net run rate over the course of the tournament wouldn't have changed that much. So that would then give Australia a small advantage in terms of they would know exactly how many runs they'd need to win by, or exactly how many overs they'd need to chase it down in. But because Australia are playing first and they don't really know that, they're just going to have to try and go hell for leather and try and win by as many runs as they can. Probably, I think for them, their best method of doing that will be to win the toss and bowl, try and bowl Afghanistan out for maybe 70 or 80, and then try and knock them off as quickly as possible, potentially promoting Maxwell to the top of the order and some of their bigger hitters to try and get it done as fast as possible.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. And those 2 games that we've been mentioning there are just bound to be super exciting. So lots still to enjoy. And then, of course, we've got the knockouts, which, again, are just bound to be fireworks. But I think that pretty much covers it then for the Sri Lanka game. And I'll pick up with you in the knockouts. Thanks very much. Oh, and I must remind you, if you are gambling with us, whether it's fixed odds or spread betting, please do so responsibly. And as always, enjoy the rest of the tournament. Thanks.